25 proper guidance on to proper 25 years old. I can't believe it myself, but yes, I am. I relocated to Mississippi, actually Yazoo City to be exact, in 2000 when I was like 6 years old. And shortly after that, I moved to Pickens, which is in Holmes County, Mississippi, around 2005. So I've been in Holmes County kind of that whole time. For me, I feel like I am personality-wise selective sometimes. You know, sometimes I can be an introvert, but as you know, I can be an introvert, but then when I'm comfortable, I feel like I'm a very great person to be around. I like to have fun. I love family. I love to be around family. My family is not all the way family oriented, so I think that's why I gravitate towards people who are family oriented. But I just like to be active. Like I love to have my hand in all types of things, whether even with my career, which is what we're going to talk about. So I'll save that part for later. I went to Delta State, of course, 2013. After I graduated high school, I did 1 year there. And then I went to cosmetology school the next year, which was 2014, which I did. I am a licensed cosmetologist. After I graduated from cosmetology school, I went straight to Jackson State and finished my BA in business management. And now I'm here. My mother, she also resides in Mississippi as well. I have two brothers, a dog, son, fiance. That's me, y'all. That's me.
So I the questions we got prior to this live feed was, what happened with Delta State? Like, why did she leave Delta State and go on to Jackson State? And what, did she get her degree in management? Can you just talk a little bit about what happened with that transition from, Delta State, cosmetology school, then to Jackson State?
I can. Let me start here from high school first, okay? So I graduated high school, like I said, 2013. I graduated salutatorian, so y'all, I was a little smart, it's a little smart. Y'all, by me having my hands in all sorts of things, I'm from Holmes County, which is a very, very small county, poorest county in Mississippi. So we don't have a lot of resources. Personally, I feel like being in high school, I didn't get proper guidance on choosing colleges, choosing career paths. Of course, we had some people in there just, once you get to senior year, pushing what you want to major in something that you like to do so you won't be bored. I got the standard advice. But to be honest, for myself, when I graduated high school, I was not fully set on what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So me knowing me, so much pressure, you're salutatorian, pick something. I said, hey, yes, I'm going to be a forensic something. I don't even know what it was. I'm going to be a forensic something because that sounds smart. I chose to go to Southern Illinois University. That's actually published in the newspaper, guys. I was going to go to Southern Illinois University. I was going to major in something. I don't even know. It was criminology. Again, I didn't know. The summer after I graduated, I had already put in and got accepted to Delta State and USM.
Okay.
It ended up being a shooting at SIU, so I ruled that out. I'm like, I do not want to be shot at, so I immediately ruled that out. The orientations for Delta State and USM were on the same day, and I think it was like July. It was the last session for both of them. I still hadn't decided when I'm going to college. It's the end of July. School starts in August. So I woke up that day, and I had two orientations. I said, I'm going to put both of them in my GPS, and whichever one's the closest one, I'm going. I put both of them in my GPS. And Delta State was closer to me by like 2 or 3 minutes from USM. So I got up and I drove to Delta State. And that's how I chose to go to Delta State.
What? I never.
Yes, I didn't. I never planned on going to Delta State. It was close to me, and so that's why I drove to. So when I got to Delta State, of course, the atmosphere was nothing that I was used to. I had this conversation with you multiple times. Our first class, Monday class, 8 o'clock class is where I first met you. We got in that class and it gave me the shock of my life. Yeah. No homework, nothing. We had 4 tests for the whole semester, and that was going to determine our ending grade. We didn't even have a textbook. We had to go buy little storybooks, like Pocahontas and stuff like that we would read, and he would give us a test out of. And the test was nothing. It was nothing from the book. Never had that in my life. So that class made me see that I wasn't ready. I was not ready for college, this type of college. I had never kind of been out of my hometown. I had never hardly been to the mall. Just from my upbringing, I don't have like active parents that kind of come with me to performances, take me to the mall. I didn't have that. So it was just kind of me, whatever I can afford myself. So unfortunately, I wasn't used to any of that. I was only used to my high school.
Yeah, and I don't want to interrupt you because it's so good what you're saying. I'm a reporter, so the question is coming. You think that the educational system that you had in Holmes County underprepared you for that?
Most definitely. Most definitely. And I feel like that speaks a lot about the educational system, because look at me, I'm graduating at the top of my class. At the top of my class. That means that I should be able to go to mostly any college and be successful. But that wasn't my story. I went to one right up the street in the Delta. That's right up the street from me. My first class made me see that I wasn't prepared.
Wow. So where did you come from? Because you start, and I'm about to get into it, but you started in academia. You know, you're wanting to be this forensic, whatever it is, big word name. You know, you don't the support system you would like to have in your parents. And so you decide, you know what, I can't do this. I'm not prepared. I'm going to go to cosmetology school. And then you just start birthing all of these businesses, which we'll get into. Like, where did the drive, like, what helped you keep going and engage? So, you know what, even though this is
my circumstances. I'll say that every day. Like I said, I'm a very self-driven person. I'm not going to say I don't have any motivation, because social media can give me motivation. You know, when I first met you in my first class and I saw how you interacted and you were more prepared than me. Girl, that's just what I'm going to admit. But just seeing, you know, different type of interactions like that with people, seeing success, you know, on social media, you know, just because I didn't have that support and all of that, I still feel like, in a sense, I have always been that way, self-driven. I don't want to be what my circumstances tell me that I am going to be. So that's my motivation every day. Because if entrepreneurship does not work for me, I'm going to go to the next thing, and I'm going to make everything I do. Something's got to work. God got to come down here and be on my side with something. Something's got to work. So I'm just that type of person. I'm not going to stop going.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And y'all, the folks who are tuning in, if you have any questions throughout this conversation, please feel free to drop them and we will get to it. But before we dive into, you know, entrepreneurship and, you know, what that means, I have a question. People love to throw around the term boss. I'm a boss. She's a boss. Can you just talk a little bit about what does being a boss mean to you?
That's multifaceted to me. Just being in corporate America and then owning businesses, it can have more than one side. But for me to put them all together and to make it simply said, For me, a boss is someone who has their stuff together. You have your stuff together at the end of the day, and not anybody else's definition of having yourself together or your stuff together. Your definition, because what I can feel like I have it together, it may be a little bit off or a little bit rocky, but that doesn't make me tell myself that I'm not a boss. Because just because, you know, I didn't make any sales yesterday, I'm still a boss. I am. Just because I fall off next week and I'm not encouraged, I'm not going to down myself and say I'm not a boss. Mm-hmm. Corporate America side is a little bit different. Me kind of being in management and things like that. Characteristics, being respectful, because I run into that a lot. A lot of people feel that because I'm bossy, I'm the boss, I'm in charge, you know, I can come and be disrespectful. I can talk to someone any type of way. You know, I can get away with things that normal people don't get away with, you know. Being respectful at the end of the day, because when you be respectful, and that's even in entrepreneurship, you know, great customer service, just have your stuff together, simply said.
Yeah. Do you think you know, seeing that side of corporate America and working in corporate America has taught you, you know, kind of ins and outs of a business, but also taught you like what type of businesswoman that you
Oh yeah. I know for me, I work in customer service. I did work in customer service.
Talk about
boy, oh boy. And I can tell you, me being as young as I am, I've been at that job since I left Delta State. That's the only job I've had. I've of course worked myself up at the job, but that's the only job I've had. Oh, it has taught me so much, especially with customer service, and like I said, how to treat people and be respectful. That's me.
Yeah.
Yes, Ashley. Yes, that's it.
So I want to kind of transition a little bit. I read this 2017 study from the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. I'm a journalist, so I gotta throw some
reports.
And it was basically conducted this study around 34 Black women who own businesses, and gain more insight, you know, these different women's, because as we know, Black women outpaces any other demographic when to entrepreneurship. It's like several years, I know. And these are a couple, I'm gonna read them out. According to that study, from 2002 to 2012, the number of businesses owned by Black women alone increased 179% compared with 52% for all women-owned businesses. Let me run that back. Black women increased 179% compared to 2% of all women-owned businesses, and for all businesses together.
That's that magic.
What? With that being said, we kind of, you know, talked about or journeyed a little bit into how you got into entrepreneurship. You kind of started off in college and you like, you know, that's not for me, so I'm gonna go do something else. But when did you know, like, the light bulb hit, if it was a light bulb, but when did you, like, I wanna be about, I wanna have my own businesses. I want to do things. When did that moment happen for you?
I think it just snuck up on me, because till this day, I've never said this to myself, Aallyah. Simply because I can say when I got my license to become a licensed cosmetologist, I graduated with 4 amazing girls. And we made a pact that, you know, we were just going to stay together throughout school. We were going to stay together and, you know, get in a salon. We were just going to stick together, you know. We stuck together throughout school, but once we graduated, we're still close, but it's like career path, you know, we just kind of went where we want to go. And so it was a young lady who graduated in the class right before us, and she opened up a salon. And of course, once I graduated, I went into her salon with one of the girls I graduated with. I didn't stay in there long, but that short experience, first, it showed me that I wasn't ready to be in a salon, which is why I'm not now. It showed me that I wasn't ready for that, simply because I was letting my 9 to 5 lead my life instead of letting what I wanted to do be most precedent. I was giving my all to someone else's business. And when I would clock out of that business every night and on the weekends, I would take my free time and I would go into that girl's salon and give her, which I had to, of course, pay her. Don't have any clientele because, again, I'm not from here. I'm from Holmes County. No one kind of knows me. I don't have clientele. And I was taking all of my earnings and I was still giving it back to her. Which, granted, I didn't stay there long because it wasn't a great fit for me at the time. So that took me away from that situation. But then when it came into owning that business, I saw that, like I said before, that I was giving everybody else all of me, and I wasn't pouring back anything into myself. And then, of course, when I had my baby, our bets were off. Our bets were off because I wasn't only cheating myself, I started cheating my child. So before he even got here, I'm making moves, big belly and all, because I knew once he got here, I couldn't continue to be selfish with myself, because I was not only being selfish with myself, I was going to be being selfish to that little boy. So I had to change it.
I have so many questions now. What triggered in your mind that empowered you to go ahead and start? Because I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs just in, conversations we have in past, like, or aspiring entrepreneurs, I should say. And I want to do my own thing, but I have this 9 to 5 I'm working at. I don't have the time. I don't know how to figure this thing out. Your story is, quite remarkable and interesting, because you're saying, you were working for a person and that, and you were just like, I'm giving my money to these folks and I really want to keep it myself and child. What empowered you to say, was it your son empowered you to say, I'm just going to go ahead and do it and place a bet on myself and just, take it full forward? Like, what was that?
I wouldn't say that he was the reason. He was at the very end, because with entrepreneurship, for me, I feel like when you get right there to the end where it's time to jump out into the world, you are kind of like, I'm not ready. I need to back. No, I need to go back and fix this. There's this kind of hesitant moment at the end of entrepreneurship that makes you kind of, do the double dutch, like, I don't know. So I think he was my ending push for that. I didn't when it came to that hesitant part, when it was time to release, I didn't have much of that. I can say I did have a little bit, but not much, and he helped me with that. But I can say, just with starting, I think my motivation with that was that my 9 to 5 was just it was not for me. It was changing me. Like, I was becoming, over the years, I started to become a person that I knew I wasn't. I became angrier. Sometimes I didn't want to get out the bed. Of course, we all kind of go through that a little bit, but I felt like I was going through that more. It made me feel like it was depression. It was just a lot of stuff that was happening to me personality-wise that I knew that it wasn't me. And the only place in my life that I was not happy was most for me was being at my 9 to 5. I would have people in my circle that would say, what's wrong with you today? Like, are you okay? And in my head, I'm like, what's she talking about? Like, what? But I had to. I'm big on self-reflections, and this goes for all of you. If you don't self-reflect, you're missing it. You're missing it. Yes. I'm big on self-reflections. You get what I'm saying? And at that time, I wasn't, all the way into it. Like, look in the mirror, see what it is about yourself. And so people were kind of coming, because I was a supervisor over a team. So, some of them would come like, are you okay today? And I'm like, as they keep coming, I'm like, wait, you know, look in the mirror. What's going on with you? What's wrong? And I saw that I was becoming a person that I was not. And I knew from then I had to give myself more. Even throughout all of that, I was going to college. Like, I was leaving work, going to college. I would get up 5 o'clock, go to work. Sometimes I would leave work 2 to 3 times a day to get to class. Need to remind you, my school is 30 to 45 minutes away from work. So I would have to leave my home, go to work from 7 to 8. Let's say, for instance, I had a 9 o'clock class. I would have to leave work and go to school. 2 hours in between class. This how much I was dedicated. I was going back to work just for 1 hour, just to get back up and leave and go back to class. Go to class probably for 1 o'clock. I would go right back to work and work 3 hours, 4 hours, and go back because I had a 6 o'clock at night. And then come back home, and guess what? I'm on the computer seeing what I can do with my business, and I have to get back up and do it again the next day. So
then when you're,
I can't fail. Yeah. So
wow.
then we pregnant now. We pregnant.
That's interesting, because I wanted, my next question kind of flows into this. You're a mom to a 2-year-old boy, little boy. He's 2, right? Trent's 2.
Almost, no.
I'm pushing
September,
him.
he'll be 2.
Yes, September. Yes, he's about to be 2. Terrible 2. Oh my goodness. And you have 3. You have, you know, your Quantum Castle, which is your raw virgin hair company, customized wigs on the sewing machine, and, you know, all that good stuff. You're a licensed cosmetologist. You have your credit repair, tax preparation company, and makeup artist. Am I leaving?
No, that's all.
3 businesses that take so much out of you. A mom to a 1.5-year-old. How do you seem to balance all that? Like, what's the secret? Like, what's the tea? Like, tell me.
Y'all, it's see, every day is a challenge. Every day is different. Every day there's new experiences. Being that, you know, I do have a 1.5-year-old, I have to, and I'm still learning to add that in. I'm still learning how to kind of deal with it all, to kind of, you know, give my time out. I'll just give you a rundown like this. You know, I have to sneak up in the morning. I have to sneak up while he's in the bed. I have to sneak up literally and get a little bit of work done. Of course, when he's up, I have to be attentive. And I do have people around who support. So that's kind of a big help for me, that having people around, of course, to help me when I need to get away and do a little bit of business. But it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's very hard. Some days are easier than others, but for the most part, it's hard. But at the end, it's going to be a fantastic results. We're going to have fantastic results. So I'm all in for it.
So recently, like not too long ago, very recently, you quit your 9 to 5. Mind you, folks who are tuned in, what we were just saying, those 3 businesses on top of being a mom, had a 9 to 5, y'all. She literally just quit not too long ago. And so what was that last trend where you were like, you know what? I'm just going to quit this job and go straight into these 3 businesses, and that's it. Like, I'm going to fully devote myself to entrepreneurship. What happened?
It's so much. The basis of it is that I realized, which I already knew, but I was staying at work for my team because I had people working under me who I not only supervised, but they depended on me kind of sort of in real life. I'm a very dependable person, so I guess I can say this. I had a lot of people depending on me I had a lot of people depending on me. And those days when I would get up and want to quit, I would go to work, and here I am, you know, someone else needs me here. Someone else needs me here. Someone else needs me here. And I would stay. I would always stay. And my boss, which is, she was so very dear to me and still very, very dear to me now. There was a lot of situations where she made me stay, and I stayed because she was a terrific leader, and she taught me things at work and being in management, which we saw. I already told you in the beginning that was very important for my business, because I had to learn that discipline. And I thank God for the job. You know, it gave me discipline. I started there when I was 19, y'all. I was a teenager. And I started in my job. In about 3 to 4 months, I was moved up. In the month after that, I was moved up again. I've been in management for, I'll say, 4 years. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of been in management for, I worked there for 1.5 years before I was promoted to management. I was a 20-year-old manager with people working under me.
Born to be a boss.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm just kidding, but seriously though, but it was just, I had to do it for me. The decision was strictly made for me, because at that time, it was a lot of stuff that went down that made me see that they were not for me. As long as they can make a buck, they were fine with it. I was in there fighting for just, I don't want to say injustices, like it was just, we might as well say it. They were playing with people's money. It was just so much, and I was in there fighting, and sometimes it would feel like I'm fighting alone. Mm-hmm. And I was so tired. I didn't get to see my son a lot, because the routine we were on, when we got home at night, it was bedtime. And I was giving so much time to this place, and it got to a point where they weren't pouring into me. So I had to go. Yeah. And that's my advice for anyone. When you get to situations and you see, that's with friendships, relationships, your job, anything. If you're steady pouring and pouring and pouring into something, and it's not giving you anything in return, the loyalty game is off. And that's what happened to me. My loyalty left because they were no longer loyal to me. So I had to go.
Yeah, you don't want to, because then if you're consistently pouring and you're not, you know, being poured back into, then where does that leave you? You know, yes. Darquita, she said we look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
With Faith Move. Oh yeah, Faith Move that she did. Again, for those of you tuning in, if you don't know, my full-time job is a journalist. So I read a couple articles and did a little research before this. I read another article. This was Black, and they talked about the struggles that Black women face as entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. These challenges included revenue gaps between Black women, getting access to capital and business loans, small business loans, and just a host of things. And so, you know, reading through some of the challenges that they wrote, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the things that you face as a Black woman trying you're doing this entrepreneurship thing?
That is a big thing. Revenue, all of that's a very big thing. Loans, that's a very big thing and a very great topic when it comes to small businesses, because that's that's a great decision that has to be made. You know, when it comes to, depending on what your business is, do I have to get a loan? Do I want to get a loan? You know, do I have the money to launch this business? You know, how do I do that? I know that was a big decision for me, because I wanted to go all in. I wanted to launch my business. I wanted to buy all the hair up in the world. I wanted to launch my site. I was ready to go all in. But I don't want to say that I'm frugal, but I try to be really, really smart when it comes to money. So there were certain decisions that I had to make. when it came to launching the business, which is what took me time, because I made the decision that I didn't want to get a loan. I didn't want to get a personal loan. I didn't want to get loans from the bank. I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to fund it because I didn't want me not knowing how the success of my business was going to go or how it's still going to go. I didn't want it to be, once I start making revenue, I was going to be paying it all back to, you know, wherever I got the loan from. I didn't want it to be that way. So, which it takes longer because that 9 to 5, it was funding the things that I needed to do or to get for my business, which now I had to make that decision, whether I was going to keep, you know, disrespecting myself just to fund my business, or was I going to, you know, make other decisions and, you know, make money elsewhere to keep my business afloat. So that's definitely a challenge in its own. If we talk about, you know, when it gets to revenue as well, the big business versus small business, look at what's going on now with, I don't know if you've been looking at like the disbursements of the SBA loans and how these big businesses, they're applying for these SBA loans, and they were getting all of the money, and the people who actually had those small businesses that were not able to pay their employees or whatever they needed to get their business to stay afloat, they were not getting approved for the loans because you had these big corporate America businesses taking all the SBA loans because they put them at the forefront and made them a priority instead of who the loan was actually for. So it's so many things when it comes into the business thing. But I can say, even though I did come back to Jackson State, they taught me so much when it came to management and actually just opening up a business, because that was one of the things, just the challenges. But that's definitely something to point out. Yeah. But there's so many challenges. There's so many things that we can hit when it comes to challenges. We'll be on here all night.
All night. No, but I mean, okay. I'll think. Another thing I had on my list of questioning: Black, we think we're superheroes. People put us on these pedestals like we can do everything and we can take on everything, and not, you know, being able to take care of ourselves, giving, and we're taking care of all these other folks, right?
Yeah.
And again, you're a mom entrepreneur, which I keep reiterating because that's a big deal, especially to me, a mom and an entrepreneur. Like, I'm already balancing 50 things, and I don't have, you know, my own. So I can only imagine. But what, thinking through some of that, what are some of the care tips that you can give to us that you've been doing, kind of, you know, make pay at the end of the day?
I recently asked this question on Twitter a few days ago because I found myself, I don't want to say depressed. I know that's the first word we kind of throw out when we're feeling down. I don't want to say depressed, but I found myself just being like feeling just not myself, not being encouraged. Normally I'm a very kind of bubbly person. I love to motivate my friends. You know, we'll get on the phone and, you know, we'll have to give each other that, you know, feed off energy to each other. And I'm normally a very kind of positive person. So when I find myself getting in funks, I know it's something wrong with me. So I asked this question on Twitter because I never looked into postpartum. I've never looked into that because when I had my baby, I didn't even give myself I probably went back right on the 6-week day, and I was right back at work, and I didn't stop. I was moving. You know, I didn't give myself any time to rest. I didn't give myself bonding time. I didn't give myself any of that. I kind of just jumped back into the workforce, and I was moving. And so I had been feeling like that lately. And, you know, we've been kind of sitting idle, quarantine, and, you know, that makes your mind wonder, stuff that you didn't get to do because you were working. Now you have time to think. And I found myself kind of having small anxiety, even anxiety attacks. It was happening, and I'm not used to that. And I asked this question on Twitter, and someone from my hometown answered it really, really well, because I never knew anything about postpartum. And she came and told me that you can always have postpartum. Always. It can be 3 years, 5 years, 6 years. You can always resort back and have postpartum. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's a type of anxiety or depression that someone who has had a child, and it's very, very normal, they can experience that just from childbirth. And just me researching it, I saw that I think that was something that I was suffering from. So just from that day, I take a day out of the week. Even, with me kind of not working on weekends, I'll kind of do background work or, administrative work on the weekends, but I still take a day of the week, and I will stop working probably about noon. And even if it's just, isolate myself for an hour, for 2 hours, I do that because I wasn't at first. I quit my 9 to 5 and I just came back home and started still taking from myself. And I'm glad you asked that, but I'm still working on that myself. I'm still working on that.
Yeah. I'm not a mom, but some of my self-care tips, I got to
give them to me.
Exhibit A. I burn candles. I listen to neo soul music. I have legit, maybe Lauryn Hill, maybe Allegra, like I do.
Yes.
Soothing music.
And that's important. That's very important.
Because my mind, it just keeps going and going and going. I don't want to move the camera, but I got like books stacked. Like I have to do it.
Yes.
But I'm looking at the time too, because I want to be mindful and respectful of your, as well as the folks who are tuning in. And by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them, because we will get to them. But at this time, I like to, as a reporter, I give folks information so that they're better informed about whatever topics that I'm writing about. But also, within those solutions, I like to, resources to folks that can help them with, this problem. So what are, and during this time, kind of, talked off live about a couple different things that if you do it, you can do it. Are there any tips you have for folks who are jumpstarting their businesses? Are out there point them to anything that you want to do during this time? This is your time.
Yeah, I can. I'll go ahead and say I did jot down 3 things. I'll go ahead and say them, and then I'll elaborate a little bit.
Okay.
The first tip is to start the business. Start it. The second tip is branding, and my third tip is consistency. So when I say start the business, it's very self-explanatory. Start it. As an entrepreneur and someone who went through this, stop doubting yourself. Stop feeling like, oh, I got to make sure this piece of paper is the right purple. I got to make sure this piece of paper is the right orange. Put them together and start the business. Don't be scared, because you won't see the results of your business until you start. I don't want to say you're going to fail, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to make mistakes. Not necessarily fail, but you're going to make mistakes. You're going to put things out that your audience may not like. And guess what? You really back in, you think of something else, and you regroup. I have to regroup every week. I have to start from scratch every week and figure out what did I do this week that was not successful for me. But start it. Don't take, and I did it, so I'm speaking from experience, don't take 2-3 years trying to save money to get this part, save money to get that part. Start it, because you never know who's out there willing to support someone who is a new business owner, where you can get different revenues of income from, but you have to start it at some point. I understand what sometimes when it comes to resources, that kind of makes us scale back a little bit, but when you get the bare minimum that you need to put yourself out there, put yourself out there, because I know a lot of us, especially as Black women, some of us are not used to being vulnerable. And being an entrepreneurship it made me open up some gates that I didn't know that I had closed. It made me be very vulnerable, and I don't like to be vulnerable. I read this post where it was like, a black woman, you know, I got this, and no, they don't got it. No, they don't got it, and I'm that. I don't care what it is, but if I don't have it, I'm gonna find a way to get it.
Yeah.
But if we always have that chip on our shoulder and we don't allow people in, which is starting the business, taking that help from people, investing in yourself, you won't know what you need. So start the business. Branding, logos, different templates, color schemes. For me, the type of business that I have, it's very essential for me. I have so much competition. As we all know, of course, we have a hair store, a lady selling hair on every different corner. And for a person like me who doesn't have a constant client base, my branding has to take me to another level. So that's something that I did have to invest in before I started the business fully. I can say that because I was still making wigs before I released my website, before I made my Instagram. I was still doing other outside things before I just jumped in and started it. So your branding is very important because it shows who you are. Make sure your branding match your business type as well. Credit repair, that's one of my business, of course. And then I have a hair business. They are day and night. For my credit repair business, I couldn't have a glitter black background logo. I just couldn't do it.
Right.
You don't want me doing your credit or preparing your taxes. And my tax repair business name is Flawless Hair Beauty and Credit Repair. I had to separate the two. So that's very important. You have to be very strategic when you're picking these things as well, because it matters. For someone who doesn't have an audience, or you're trying to build an audience outside of your hometowns and, outside of those areas that other than your face, if you are the face of your company, your branding is what's going to make you stand out. So make sure that is in order. Consistency. When I first started my business, even now, I'm going to admit, even now, some days I don't post. Some days I don't do not a lick of hair.
We killing it right now.
I'm telling you, some days I don't open my credit repair page up, because I need to remind you guys, I had to come out of being this person who didn't post on social media, because I didn't. When I was pregnant, I had so people upset with me because I just, I'll come in, check in, but for the most part, I didn't post on social media much. So I had to come out of that, and it was very hard, and I'm still learning to this day. I'm still learning to be consistent as a business owner. At the very minimum, for successful businesses, they post at least 5 times a day. I'm still struggling with one. But I can say I do. Before I made these decisions, I have done it on my social medias. Like, I would compare my analytics or my algorithms for a week that I would post 3 to 5 times a day, and I would go that next week and not post, maybe here and there.
Mm-hmm.
That week that I did what I was supposed to do, my algorithms were through the roof. They were through the roof. My reaches were out there. My impressions were out there. Everything was just up. And that week that I didn't, everything was down. So it taught me a lot. That's just even, sometimes we're easy to be forgotten. And I think that's mostly what consistency, that's why it's so important, because you're not the only one with that type of business that you're owning. You have somebody down the street, somebody in the next town. So if you're not being consistent with that post, just because someone didn't buy from you today, they're going to need that wig next month. We've been in quarantine quarantine and the hair salons have been closed. But because I was consistent before quarantine came, and I started being more consistent when quarantine got here because I was able to give my business more time, I received much more in the process of that. So start the business, get your branding together, be consistent.
Yeah, and I think what I really got at, which I feel like is so valuable and so important, is that you continue to learn. Like, you're always a student of the business. You don't act like you know everything, and you open and learn more to improve the success of your business. And also studying the algorithm, studying the data. Like, what does the number show? You know, I think a lot of times folks don't like numbers and data unless it's money.
Yes.
Does those numbers influence your business? How does those numbers help bring folks to you, to your site, to your pages? So I think, yeah, for me, those are two things that I got from what you said.
Seriously, and you have to pay attention to them if you're not a person, because I didn't know anything about statistics when it came to social media, because that's not something that I studied. But it's a lot of people like management or marketing gurus, kind of sort of, they offer a lot of classes. I follow a lot of people. Like right now I'm rebranding my personal page because, you know, I had a lot of people in there that didn't center me. That's another thing. Make sure your social media is in order. I don't want people on my timeline who is not posting things that's beneficial to me or my business. I had to reframe everything about me, myself. I had to reframe who Shanice Patrice was. I had to determine who I was, and I had to make sure that everybody and everything surrounded me matched and poured into who I'm trying to be. So once I open my timeline up today, it's somebody making wigs, it's somebody doing this, it's somebody teaching me about algorithms. Like everything is somebody or something. Even if they don't teach me anything, they're a potential customer. So y'all, I'm telling you, I'm still learning. Like you said, I'm not perfect. You know, I don't have just a multi-million-dollar business. For me, I don't even say my business is successful yet, because for me it isn't. But it's so much learning. I'm glad you said that too, just about still, going to classes. I still learn from people. Like I invest, like I'll say within the last year alone, I know I have invested over $5,000 to $10,000 into my business, and that's just from inventory, classes, different learning material. Like I went in when I had my son. Like I was going in. I had my son in September 2018, and I learned how to make sewing machines on a wig in December 2018. I wasn't playing no games. None.
About time. You
No, ma'am.
So it's about time for questions. And if no one has questions, I will ask a question. I'm gonna give it a little minute. If you have any questions,
I'm on y'all with these questions. Where y'all at?
please feel free you can drop them in the comment section, or the questions feature on the live where you have a question. Because I know if I was a first time entrepreneur and I'm like, okay, where do I start? I think one of the questions, well, let me take it back. Now that you're not a first time entrepreneur and you've gained some experience, what is something you wish someone would have told you when you were that?
That's a good one. It's a lot of stuff, but I think for me, it may be researching the field that your business in, doing the research on it more, and just investing in it more. I simply say that because and it's probably my fault because I didn't know the road that I needed to go. I never knew, and I still don't know, y'all. I still don't know what I'm doing with my life. Tomorrow I may go and be Bob the Builder, So, but like I said, I went to cosmetology school, and if this business is successful for me, I didn't need to go to cosmetology school. So I had debt coming from college and school like that, when there's so many people, and that's simply because everything is kind of changing, where you needed to go to school for this or go to school for that, you now can go get a trade for this and a trade for that. So I wish I would have known that, but it's just simply because I wasn't on social media. I didn't follow people who mirrored what I wanted to do. I didn't know it was people out here teaching lace front classes. I never knew that. And I went to a cosmetology school, and they didn't teach me not one thing. I did 1,500 hours just to do 1,500 hours. So I wish someone would have told me that, introduced me to people, network. I wish I knew about networking. I wish I knew about all of that before I made some of the decisions that I made in the past.
Yeah. Okay, we have something. And speaking of networking, I got coming soon. So Jaquita says, no questions, but this has been so inspiring. Thank you. I'm glad that this sparked some inspiration for you. Shanice Patricia is an angel. I love her. Flaws and All says, did you ever oh, that's Donna. Did you want to did you want to or get really close to giving up? And if so, what was your motivation to get through? My issue is focus. What helps you stay focused? That's a good one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you about that later. But yeah, I give up quite often. I guess to go back to what I kind of said in the beginning, something has to work. I'm not a freeloader. I'm not a type of person who can sit in the house. I have bills. I have a child. Like, something has to work. So when I give up, and it's more difficult now, and I have to return back to this business more now because I don't have a 9-to-5. This is it for me right now. So when I get in a point where I don't want to get out the bed, or I feel like I have anxiety today, tomorrow I'm right back at it. I give myself a day, but tomorrow I have to be right back at it because life still keeps going. It keeps going every single day. And don't let, the things that are going good for you. Like I said, my 9-to-5 was, it was enough money for me. It was also funding me starting my business. And I would let that get in the way of me starting my business. I was using that to fund my business, but it got in the way and stopped me from starting my business. So now it's just me. It's just me and my 9-to-5 now. So I guess life is my motivation because it keeps going. Yeah. And I can't fail. I simply cannot fail. There is no option, and there's no room for failure. I can have bad days and I can do all of that, but there's no option for failure to me.
Yeah, and you won't fail. And I know that question wasn't for me, but I think one of the things that helps me stay focused, because like I said, I'm a full-time reporter, I'm writing plays, I'm a board member, I'm doing all this stuff, and then I'm now launching this new thing, right? I think focus for me comes from who's going to make sure that I'm straight.
Yes.
Like, I have parents, but my parents, they have their own thing.
Yes. And y'all, I can tell y'all this. If don't nobody else got focus, Aallyah has focus. Like, I'm serious. Like, I told y'all at the beginning, when I went into that 8:00 class and I met this girl, and when I say, I'm over there shaking in my boots at this teacher, like, and she's cool and collected. And the thing, we were sitting right beside each other. And when I say, even when we left out of there, and I'm like, girl, you know how you meet somebody? I'm like, girl, do you have your books? She had her books already. Like, I'm behind. She is so focused. She is so inspirational. And it's great. And you have to do that. Surround yourself with people who are motivational to you. It's no competition.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I have to get out of as well, is I don't look at my friend and say, ooh, she's doing good in her journalism. I don't know what to do. She's doing better than me, so I can't reach out to her. No. Hey girl, I'm gonna give you I'm be your hype man and everything, because that's not what our friendship is based off. I need that motivation from her on days where I don't feel like. So that's a tip as well. Like, I need that motivation from her for those days that I don't feel like doing it. And it's like, she knows. She'll call and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
today's the day. Get up. Let's do it. And I'm like, girl, when I get up, she done already went running. And I'm like, whoa. But you need that. You need people around you who are motivational. Those friends that you have that you just go out partying and drink with and hang out and talk about so and so and so and so and so and so. If they're not pouring into you and preaching and placing so much motivation and positivity into your life, let it go.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And
Oh,
they're gonna kick us off in a minute. But before I get into, the closing, I would like to say thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I've been talking to you for so long about, me wanting to launch something on my own, wanting to, tell the stories and amplify the voices of folks, who are like you that's trying to get it. And your story is remarkable. You're a mom who has multiple businesses from Mississippi, like and so thank you. I appreciate you. I'm pretty sure Arquita said help inspire folks with this conversation. And we're glad to have you, and hopefully we'll have you back for another topic. And thank you all who tuned in. If you have any other questions, any other resources, you can follow Shanice Patrice. Excuse me. I will drop a flyer with her information on it, so that I can direct you to her page. If there's any other or people that you want to come on to talk to me Tuesdays with let me know. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. I will be here with a guest, and I got some tricks up my sleeve that I'm gonna do by myself. But y'all will see those flyers the coming week. I will drop a new one this week, so stay tuned for next week with Talk to Me Tuesdays. Thanks, Shay.